Hello drone racers, today we're going to be connecting my brand new DYS ELF quadcopter to my brand new Taranis Q X7 radio. Actually, it's my son's radio, but I'm going to use it because he's grounded. I like it when I can just set up a couple switches, bind the radio to the quadcopter, take off and fly. But I found that wasn't the case with the DYS ELF, so I wanted to do a tutorial of setting up the radio to go with it. It also has some really cool extra features that do require some additional configuration. So if you're just setting this up for the first time, hopefully this helps you out. So I'm not doing a full tutorial on setting up everything on the Taranis this time. We'll have a separate video for that I'm going to be doing, but this is just going to be the settings that you need to get the ELF going. So to start out with, we're going to go in and create a new model. So I'll just create one from scratch and hit page and go in here, and I like to have everything named. So I'm going to go ahead and name this. We'll make it easy so we don't have to take a lot of time. But I found this radio is new for me. I really like the dial. So we have ELF, at least that'll be quick. I'm not going to set the timer yet because I'm going to do a couple tests with it before I set the timer and figure out where I need to start it. But now I'm going to scroll down to the internal RF. This needs to be set on D8, and that's all we have to do on this page. So then what we'll do is go through to page, at least on my radio, it's going to be inputs page 5. So we need to set up a couple of switches in place here. For the first one, I'm going to set up source, and I'm going to set up this. I use this as my arming switch, and that's SA on input 5. On 6, I set the mode switch, which I set to this switch. More on that later because I wish this was a three-way switch, but for now that's what I'm going to do. So I have stable and error mode on that switch. So then that's what all you do with a lot of the quadcopters. That's all it has built in, but this has a couple extra settings. The next one we're going to do is source. I'm going to set it to this switch here, which is SD, or switch D, and that actually controls the on-screen display. The OSD, you have some control with it. And because this is a really nice quadcopter with a built-in buzzer, I'm setting a switch for my buzzer. So I have a buzzer switch, and that sets up my 8 channels that I have available then. I need to go to the next page to mixers, and on these it's really easy. You just go in and click in and exit. Go down and in and exit, in and exit, and oop, I set 9, doesn't matter. So that sets my 8 channels and binds them with the switches or the inputs that I just made. So that will get my radio ready to go the way I need it to be for the quadcopter. So the next step, we have to get it bound. Binding this quadcopter is pretty easy. You just have to take the battery and basically plug it in. There's no bind button on the quadcopter. Make sure you use the smaller of the plugs. Connect in. I'm going to hold it down just in case something goes crazy. So then we go back in on the radio and we go around to bind.
Telemetry lost.
So there, it needs to wait a few seconds for the radio, just make sure it doesn't have anything else to bind to, and then hit exit, and then unplug this. And then you should be able to plug it back
Telemetry recovered.
Telemetry recovered. So that means we are connected then. So we have our arm switch, and then we have our throttle, and uh-oh, it doesn't do anything. So this is the problem. Now, for the next step, we actually do need to go into BetaFlight. Okay, so I'm in BetaFlight, and before I connect the quadcopter, if this is you've never used BetaFlight, it's very easy. You have to use Google Chrome. So you have to have Google Chrome installed, and then from there just Google BetaFlight within Chrome, and it will load as an app, and you click it and it will load into Chrome as an app. You don't really notice it once it's loaded that it's even part of Chrome officially, but that's how it actually works. And before you connect it, if you've not used it before, make sure you go here and download the drivers for the quadcopters. So for the most part, you're just going to need the CP210X drivers. Click that, download those, and you should be good to go. Then you can plug in the quadcopter. So here now, I've got it set to automatically connect. You may have to hit the connect button and find out which channel it's on. but mine connected automatically. So here we've got it. Make sure we have good movement, so we are connected. Movement looks good on there. Have ports, so just in case, this is serial RX3 in case you end up resetting it and lose that. If you have to reset this up with the controller, it's serial RX3, which is a little unusual for me. It's not usually on UART3, but hey, it works. Already loaded with D-Shot 600. That's really impressive. It is ready to go with what most consider the best of the best at the moment. I leave motor stop on. I know that's debatable, but it's the default, so I've not made any changes here at all. That is the default, and I think it's the safest, and I have kids around, they'll do crazy things, so I like to have that on. This is one that surprised me a little bit. The gyro and PID loops are only 2,000, 1,000. I'm not going to make any changes here, but CPU load is really low, so we might try and turn that up later. So we'll go down to, we're not going to mess with the PIDs. Right now, we're just going to leave those as default but until we fly it. So now we have, oh, look at our preview. That's going crazy. So I'm going to move up the throttle, and that's marking the roll. That's not going to work at all. And yeah, these are all totally wrong. And here's why. Channel map, AETR. The Taranis does not default to AETR. So unfortunately, they missed this in the configuration. They must not have flown it. So it's really easy to change it here. What you want to choose with a Taranis is JR Spectrum Graupner. So change that to TAER, which will set that up and hit save, and that will just immediately fix your problems. So there's throttle, and let's try all of them. There we have throttle, we're up. We have pitch is good, roll is good, yaw is good, channels are all good. So to check the switches, we're actually going to go here to modes just to make sure. So we have arm, and we set that up on the switch here, so we are armed. We'll disarm. The switch up here is aux2, which we set it to, so we have angle mode, air mode. We don't have access to horizon on this using this switch because it's only a two-way switch. I'm probably going to change that later, but for today it's a new radio and I'm not making any of those changes. Down here we have OSD switch on aux3. I don't know exactly what this does. We'll find out, but it's pretty interesting that it's set up. So if it's, for me, if it's up or down, the OSD is on, and if it's in the middle, it's off. So we'll see what that looks like. Then we have the beeper. Beeper work? Beeper works. I like that. I like that it has a beeper. That actually makes a big difference. I've almost lost some of these quads in the rough of the golf course behind my house a couple times. So that should be it. That should be all we need to do. We don't need to calibrate anything because we have D-Shot. So now we will, I saved it. We will disconnect. We should be able to fly. Let's find out. Okay, so all I want to do right now is just make sure it works so I can move on and do a review. So we are going to arm it. Going to level it up. And that's it. It flies. I'll call it a success. Now we'll move on and actually see what we think of it in a full review. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, please leave us a like and a comment down below. If you have any questions, anything else that you want to set up, anything that I missed that hopefully I'll cover when I do the full review, but if not, let me know. And remember, if at first you don't succeed, check the radio settings in BetaFlight.